The shelter's morning began in typical busy fashion. The furnace needed to be lit to heat up the shelter after the cool night before. The kitchen received a good scrub down in preparation for a governmental inspection, and our guests were given needed food and water supplies. The incredible part about this is that all of these tasks that you just saw were done solely by volunteers. The Hope Shelter has absolutely no hired staff. And so the Ukrainian refugees are totally dependent upon these volunteers in order for them to meet their basic needs. Let me tell you about some of these amazingly real superheroes. One safe place. Everywhere that you turn, you are bound to run into one of these incredible volunteers, doing everything from working in the warehouse to cleaning floors. So how do these volunteers continue to do it? How do they work day after day, sometimes year after year, without getting paid? I had the opportunity to talk with a couple of the volunteers who have stayed the entire time that the Hope Shelter has been around. Katya Milnyakova, Ukrainian, told me about some of the special memories that she has had that have stuck with her entire time that she's been with the organization.
For the first time after the war started, I started actually getting to know people from the eastern regions, or not eastern regions, just like actual refugees of war from my country, and actually working with them, getting to know their stories, and just their life experiences. That was also a very huge, eye-opening experience for me. And I remember one of the first weeks, maybe the first week I was there, we got a big bus of people, and there was a group of like 10 very, very old people, of like 90 plus. They just came from Donetsk region, and it was just them. They didn't have anyone with them, no one accompanied them. It was just like a group of very, very old people. And so they were very lost. They obviously didn't know, they didn't understand where they were, what was happening, why they're here. And because they came from Donetsk region, they were so terrified of every single little noise that they would hear, because to them it was the sound of bombs. And it was terrifying, and at the same time so eye-opening to see them experience this, because they don't speak the language, they don't know where they are, what's happening. They are so connected, and that's the thing about Ukrainians as well. They're so connected to the land and to their community and to their home. It's like roots in the ground. When you get like taken from it, or your home gets taken from you violently, and you're forced to leave, especially at this age, being 90, 89 or something. That's just horrifying and so sad. And it was one of my first big memories that I just remembered, and yeah, it's with me.
Richard Smith from England explains that volunteers for the shelter never were idle in those first months of the shelter.
It was a joke. You could never just go to the shelter for 10 minutes because somebody would say, oh, can you help with this? Oh, can you drive me there? And just random stuff would happen. all the time, and we get refugees turning up unexpectedly. You'd be asked to drive someone somewhere. There might be a medical emergency. You had to get a doctor in, or there'd be a delivery of supplies coming in, and it was everybody did everything. Basically, we all had our preferred things to do, but if something needed doing, we just got on with it.
Yeah.
After a 3-month stint volunteering in Ukraine, Micah, who is Romanian, had to leave the country due to the end of his visa stay. So he crossed the border into Poland and came to the Hope Shelter to volunteer. From the moment he arrived, he knew he was in the right place.
When I arrived to Hope Shelter, I was very welcome here. The people was very warm with me, and I feel in the few seconds I feel like home. They was smiling. They was offer me tea, coffee. They asked me if I eat. They offer me to eat. They offer me cigarettes. It was like I was coming back home, but with family that I meet for the first time in my life.
Even the volunteer director, Jacek Wiarski, is working constantly, not only in trying to financially keep the shelter running, but he is also working in the trenches. Okay, we are now in the car going to the next town. What's the name of the town again?
It's Rademno. It's a very small town, 25 kilometers from Przemysl.
Okay, and we are picking up food supplies to bring back to the shelter, and then most of that food will go to, like, where? Don't know.
We don't know. First, we have to know what we get today, because it's like it's like a surprise every time. if there will be only salad, then I don't know.
Yeah.
But hopefully not, because it's Easter season, so maybe we get some eggs and meat. I don't know.
What continues to shock me are the amount of volunteers who work at the Hope Shelter who are actually from different countries. Yet they still stick around and are dedicated to their work. Wow. We have Sasha, who is Ukrainian, who owned a small business car wash in Ukraine, and Erbse, who is German, who previously was in the hospitality industry. There is Mike, who is from Colombia and delivers supplies to Ukraine, who loves the Boston Red Sox. I'm still trying to convert him to being a Brewer fan, however, and I think it's working. We have Nadia, who is Ukrainian, who works at the Ukrainian house in town, and Adam, who is Polish, who is a beekeeper. We have Alex, who is Polish, who brings donated supplies from companies in other cities to the shelter. And we can't forget about Victoria, our Ukrainian refugee, who is starting now part 2 in this series, talking about now her travels from Lviv to here in Przemysl and the Hope Center. So then did you take the train from Lviv to...
And from Lviv
Przemysl?
to Przemysl, yes. It was also a direct train from Lviv to Przemysl, and all of both trains were free of charge. We didn't pay anything. They were evacuation trains. And the only thing that for 20 hours my mother was sitting waiting for the train from Lviv to Przemysl. She was sitting on the suitcase on the floor.
Oh, wow.
And then when we left the next day, there was an explosion. There was a missile which arrived and hit a train in Lviv at the railway station, and we were sitting just next. Well, now I'm telling you now and start trembling because I understand what could be. Yes. It was very, very good for us because we could stay here in Przemysl, and the attitude was wonderful, really wonderful. People were so kind to us, and all people. Jacek, Jay, volunteers who worked in a team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so the impression I how to say, I felt the relief at last that well, in a safe place and with not such as that strict terms that you have to leave immediately. Yes, you have to go somewhere in further moving.
Yeah.
Well.
Finally, I asked Katya and Richard both if they would reflect on their experiences and tell us what they can take away from their incredible experiences here at the Hope Center.
I've grown a lot as a person. I've learned so much from all the volunteers, Dasha, Kate, Jacek, Richard, Jay, all of them. So I'm very grateful. And also I've met so many incredible people that this is something that I will always be grateful for, because I just had a chance to meet some of the best people from all over the world. Yeah, Hope Shelter is a huge, huge part of my life, and it will always stay with me as a very, very important chapter.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that surprised me, I've never worked in humanitarian aid before, was how, I'm trying to think of the right word, casual isn't the right word, but how I imagined working for a humanitarian aid organisation would be very hierarchical, and we'd all have our jobs, and how relaxed it was, how friendly everybody was, how, like I said earlier, you just get on with stuff. And this is an absolute cliche, but working with people who've lost everything, the people staying at the shelter, and also some of the volunteers, from Ukraine, and who've had huge issues in their life because of the war. There's no way of saying this without it sounding like a really cheesy thing to say. It does make you realise what's important and what's not important.
And for sure, one of the things that I have learned that's pretty common among all of the volunteers is that they are doing this out of sheer joy. And I think the best way to show you that is to let them show you. Micah, take it away.
It's a nervous dance. It's a nervous dance.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Bravo!
One, say